music.
My special guest today is none other than a Hollywood actor, and it's not often we get Hollywood actors in here. So, Crash, nice to welcome you to the studio.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks.
First of all, you know, a great look, a fantastic look. Where'd you get the? How long have you had this goatee?
About 2 years.
Yeah, and
it keeps the women away.
Because that's a problem when you're a Hollywood actor, is the hordes of women, you know, just causing you problems all the time, isn't it?
Not anymore, but it used to.
Now, you've had a long career in the business, and your name's Crash.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Actually, my football coach.
Yeah?
I played for Loyola University in California.
Yeah.
And he called me Rhino because I was a short down back. If they needed 1 or 2 yards, they gave me the ball.
Right.
And later on, he discovered that the word for a group of rhinoceros is a crash of rhinoceros.
Like a parliament of owls or something like that.
Yeah,
a crash of rhinoceros.
Exactly. Yeah. And or a murder of crows. That's
a good one, isn't it?
Isn't it?
A murder of crows. Yeah. So now you tell us about how you started, because you were very famously in The Lone Ranger, weren't you?
Yes.
Which part did you play?
Well, I was 12 at the time.
Yeah.
And my mother was a very good actress in those days, and she just recently died, but lived to be 100.
Wow.
And she set me up on the Lone Ranger show, and my best line was, "Pa, who was that masked man?"
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a legendary piece of film, isn't it? Really?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, we used to watch that when I was a kid. You know, The Lone Ranger. And
You're that old.
Unfortunately, I can remember it. So, where did you go to from there then? I mean, that obviously got you off and running.
Yeah, I went to New York. I studied at the Actors Studio. Thought I was hot business, you know.
Yeah.
Came back to Hollywood. Told the directors how to direct. I told the cinematographers where to put the camera.
Yeah.
Got fired over and over again. I've had about 12 names. My agent kept changing my names
to get you get you some more work.
Yeah. My last name, I think it was Paramount. Head of new talent was a guy called Leon Gilliam.
Yeah.
And my agent filled me in on his background. And when I went for the audition, I talked to him for about a half an hour. By the time we were done, he thought we were related. So I kept that name. R. Mike Gilliam was my last name.
R. Mike Gilliam.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what the R stands for, but...
And what sort of parts were you doing around about that time?
Basically, good actors wouldn't do commercials.
Right.
Early on in the 50s. I did Newport filter cigarettes. And I didn't know what residuals were. I had no idea what they
like
were.
Royalties that you would get paid over and over again.
If it was national, I think it was $45. If it was local, I think it was $23.
Yeah.
And I had an apartment that had a small mailbox.
Yeah.
And I had so many checks in there, they had to keep them at the post office, the extra ones.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, in those days, did they film them? They filmed them, or did they actually? Some of the commercials went out live, didn't they?
Yes, they did go live, but these were filmed. And then, believe it or not, but you wouldn't know by looking at me now, but I was a model, male model.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'll be 80 in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did Johnny Walker. I was a Johnny Walker Scotchman for 7 years.
Yeah.
Every magazine in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were...
I had this beautiful red beard. I mean, it was red. They loved it.
How did you cope with the fame?
Drank.
Is that how everybody coped with it in those days, you know?
In fact, Dennis Hopper used to have this great line. He'd say, "Let's get drunk and be somebody."
Now, Dennis Hopper, you've worked quite considerably with him, haven't you?
Actually, we were just friends. The first time, we did work together at the Laguna Playhouse. We both lived in San Diego, and I'd never met him before.
Right.
And we were both cast in a play called George Washington Slept Here, I think it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, we became friendly, and he was a crazy, crazy guy. In those days, I had a 1949 Chrysler Woody convertible. Yeah. It was chartreuse, with chartreuse leather upholstery. But we go down Hollywood Boulevard, and he had a phone. Remember the land phones that you just say hello, goodbye, and
Yeah.
And he had the batteries, the 9-volt batteries in those days were like 10 inches high.
So
and
like an early mobile phone.
Well,
like an early cell phone.
Yeah. Except he would make it ring, and we would drive slowly down Hollywood Boulevard and see a couple of girls. He'd make it ring, and then he'd say to them, "It's for you." He was a clever guy.
That's a great line. Isn't
It is a great line.
Yeah.
And then he'd go to the bank and buy rolls of quarters. There's $10 in each roll.
Right.
And he'd get 3 rolls, $30.
Yeah.
And he'd break them open, put them in his hat, and we'd drive around the corner of Hollywood and Vine, and he would throw handfuls out onto the curb, the sidewalk. And women wore hose in those days. They'd be down on the ground picking them up. Oh, we had a lot of fun. Drive around.
There's a similar scene you see with ping pong balls in some of the bars around,
exactly.
in Patio, yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay, you were friends with Dennis Hopper. Did that get you into some other films? Was it good to know people in?
Oh, yeah. James Garner gave me a lot of work. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Mostly television.
James Garner, yeah.
But I was in both his shows, and I was always out of work.
There was some cop program that you used to do, wasn't there?
Yeah, Maverick.
No,
that was the cowboy one.
Oh, right.
I worked as a second director on that show. 40-50% of everything is done without the stars.
Well, they put the stars in at the last minute or something.
Yeah, no, you have a double. Like he's in the car. He had this fancy car.
Right.
We'd be in a helicopter shooting it down, like going to Vegas, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Come on, get up, get out, and start grooving. Jumping around to the sound of music.